Hello, welcome to the March the 12th vlog on supply chains as we explore the implications of the coronavirus and reactions to the pandemic. Here we're going to focus specifically on President Trump's banning of air travel from Europe, which adds to the ban on air travel from China that was instigated 2 weeks ago. So let's think back to basic principles. How does freight, and more importantly, how does freight and people get into the US? Clearly, sea transportation is an important part of how supply chains operate into the United States and out of the United States. But air cargo accounts for a significant portion of the US's high value imports and exports. And a significant proportion of that air cargo actually travels alongside air passengers. So how does freight get into the USA? If we look at imports by sea, the data for the last full year in 2017 showed that 22,362,000 20-foot equivalent units came into the United States. So that's a significant volume of freight, the dominant volume of freight coming into the US is by sea. But air cargo in the year to June 2019 accounted for nearly 11.5 million tons of product, and for the same time period we had 1.8 million passengers flying between the US and the rest of the world. So where does this air freight come from? Well, the top five sources, not surprisingly, China, but Japan and Hong Kong second and third, UK, for which there is currently no ban on air travel, is fourth, and Germany fifth, South Korea sixth, and Taiwan seventh. So when we think about the existing bans essentially affecting 3 out of the top 5 origins for air freight imports into the United States. So if you think about what the potential 1-month cancellation of flights can do, it can reduce air freight by approximately 650,000 tons, which is a significant proportion. And the sorts of products that we're talking about here are quite critical products and also high value products. Critical products such as pharmaceuticals, and also high value electronics items, fashion items, and then what we'd class as urgent or critical supplies, those products which may have had a disturbance or disruption in their supply chain, for example, due to a quality defect of an original consignment, means we need a rapid replenishment. And let's not forget how much of our mail and parcels are shipped in the belly of passenger aircraft. So quickly, let's just think about what this means. We're heavily dependent on air freight via passenger aircraft for the high value, low volume products such as pharmaceuticals, medical equipment, perishable products, electronics. 5 to 10% of the revenue of the airlines actually is generated by the gold in the hold, the air cargo underneath the passenger seats. If we're looking at where air transport, air freight is also used as an absolutely critical sustainment strategy, when we need urgent supplies, whether they're perishable, whether they're high value, or whether they're due to a contingency, air freight plays a major role simply because it's quick. You know, sea transportation from Asia takes 6 weeks. It takes 30 hours from point to point by air typically. So what we're seeing with the recent air travel ban is increasing and further pressure on the United States supply chains, particularly for critical items, and it can only stress our vulnerable supply chains even further.